Okay, guys, we're back this week. Were y'all able to use the stuff that we went over last week?
Yes.
Yes.
Really? Seriously?
Yes.
No. I tried using it to edit my tests.
How'd it go?
It went, I need to practice, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take practice, but if you don't do it, it's really going to be hard when you really need it and try to do it. So, I mean, you have to kind of ease into it. I mean, there's still things that kind of get me, like, you know, I'm going so fast when I'm editing, so sometimes I'll hit something and, you know, like I showed you guys, it's going to take you to the bottom of the page or it's going to take you to a fill in the blank. And it does it to me, you know, probably once or twice on every transcript for some reason. I'm just going so fast that I don't realize what I'm doing. But don't freak out. You press escape, you press Z until it gets you back to the spot, and then you're okay. All right? So don't freak out when something weird happens or whatever, okay? But the more you use it, the more you're going to understand how to use it, okay? And I think we had covered most of this stuff. I'm just going to kind of go over it again real quick. But, you know, like using the printer was Alt-O. How do you get into hyperkeys? Alt-Z. Control-L. We talked about that?
Yes, I had wrote that on my notes and I was like, I need more clarification on that, so I can leave it.
Okay. The Control-L, listen guys, on F5. F5 is find and replace. Okay? So say you're going to go through there and you want to find every time they said care. Okay? It's going to go through there. Let me use a word that is. Every time you use the word the. Okay? And let's just say that that was the proper name of the doctor. Okay? Well, you spelled it wrong. No big deal. So you go in there and it's going to take you to the next D from where you were. So now if you want to go from the top of the document, all you do is Alt-G. Alt-G is go to page. Okay? You press 1, enter, takes you to the top of the document. Okay? So now you want to find every time you hit the F5. Okay? Type in the, and it's going to take you to the first D. What Control-L does is you don't have to go through that process again. You do Control-L and it takes you to the next time that you use that word. Okay? Now say you put but. Okay? And you're searching but. Well, it's going to take you to but. And you're like, you know what? I want to go to the next the. Okay? So you do Control-L. Well, it's not. Okay? Every time you use that, the Control-L is going to take you to the next time that you used whatever you were searching for the last time. It's not going to take it 2 times back or 3 times back. Okay? So every time that you use that, so it's a search and find. It's really what it is. And it's a continuation of the search and find.
So whatever you type in the find and replace, the Control-L is going to go back to that.
It's going to keep going to that same word. So you don't have to do F5, type in the again, search again. All you do is Control-L and it's going to take you to the next one. Okay? Everyone understand that?
Yes.
And that's what it is. Locate or search for the next text. So the previous occurrence. So when you try to locate, which is the search and find, that's what it's going to do. Okay? Control-X. We talked about that, didn't we?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Where it marks. Remember, X marks the spot? It's going to mark a certain spot. So you put your cursor right here and you do Control-X. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. I don't know what they're doing right here, but it's not. It's Shift X. Shift X marks a spot. Okay? So remember where the cursor is, right here. There's no absolute. You see that? Okay? So now I'm going to go, page 99. Well, that's not what I wanted. So now you do Shift V. Shift V takes you back. So Shift X marks a spot. So say you want to go to the end of the document or you want to go forward and it's like, you know what? I'm on page 39, line 18. Well, instead of having to write it down and having to remember it, Shift X marks it. So Shift X is X marks a spot. Okay? Then you go wherever you want, and to get back is Shift V. Okay? So Shift X, and look what it does. It kind of does a little, see how it kind of marked it? Now you do Alt G. I do 99 just to go to the bottom of the page. That's not what I wanted. So okay, Shift V takes me right back. Okay? Got that?
Yes.
Okay, and what they're saying right here on the Shift F10 is it kind of gives you this little menu bar. So if you want to do something, you want to go to a page, find it, paste something, read, block, insert, paragraph, spacing. Honestly, the next time I use this will be the first time I use it, so whatever. But if you need to get to it, that's how you do it, okay? So it's Shift F10. All right, any questions about that? Movements? No?
No.
Orlando?
So just to mark a spot and then you want to, I don't know, what would you use that for? Just to mark it and then...
You just want to mark that specific spot because you want to come back to it. So say,
you want to read...
I don't know, this is just for argument's sake, but I mean, say the attorney, comes in and says, you know what, you're already working on the job. Well, this is a prime example. The attorney says, you know what, I need this job. And it's 97 pages of a document that's 187 pages, okay? And it's right in the middle.
So he just needs that part of it.
Yeah. So what you do is you started working on it where you're like, I don't know, 14 pages into it. And the attorney calls and says, hey man, how many pages was that document? I need it. It doesn't matter how many it is. Just start doing it. I'll get you the check, no problem. Okay. Well, you just start working on it. I don't know how long it is. So he calls you, says, you know what? I need to make out that check. How much is it going to be? Okay. So you're already in the middle of it. You do the Shift X, marks a spot. Then you just, the way that I do it is after each file that I do, I push end, probably 6 times. So when I need to go to the next document, I don't need to go to my docket. All I do is push F5, which is what? Find and replace. Push enter end, enter, and it goes to the end. It goes to the next time that I put end in there. You have to be careful because inside of that document they say, well, did he stay at that party till the end? Well, it's at the end of a sentence. No problem. How do you get to the next end?
Control
Seriously? Yes. Control L. We just talked about it, guys. Control L takes you to the next end. Say it wasn't there. They talked about the end of the party again. Then you push Control L again. Then it goes to the end, and then it goes to Acosta, which is the next file. Okay? Well, I see how many pages it is. Add it up, blah, blah, blah. You had already marked your spot. So no big deal. Now you do the Shift V, takes you back to the next spot. That's where it works out good. So you don't have to remember, oh, I was on page 38, line, was it 8 or 18? You just mark it. Okay? It's handy. It's good. All right? Now we're going to do oops and delete. So how do you zoom in?
Shift
Control
F7.
Shift F7.
Shift F7. How do you get in the hyper keys?
Alt Z.
Alt Z. All right. This is going to become one of your best friends, okay? Because I mean, I still use it now. I don't mess up very often, but when I do, it helps. Okay. So Z. Z is the oops key. Okay.
Let's see how the oops and delete keys work. The oops key can undo editing steps. The command is Control-Z, editing steps. The command is Control-Z or hyperkey Z. For example, if I add a suffix to specific and I pick the wrong one.
So how do you do suffix or prefix in hyperkeys? Somebody
W.
is getting whacked with this stick. Huh?
W.
W. W. Guys, use this stuff. W, absolutely important. You're going to use that a ton. So adding ED, ING, S, ES, IES, and you don't even have to know how to do it. Okay? I think I've gone over this already, right? Okay? So you don't even have to know how to do it. The software does it for you. Okay? So, but this is talking about something different, but W and hyperkeys, really important.
I could use the oops key
I'm going to back it
to
up just a
undo
bit.
my mistake. Suffix to specific, and I pick the wrong one. I could use the oops key.
You see how he did it? He chose D on specific to do specified. Well, he didn't want that. Maybe he wanted specifics. The specifics. Okay? No big deal. You do the Z and it takes it off and puts it back to where it was. Okay? So whatever you do, just push the Z in hyperkeys.
Undo my mistake. I like to think of the command to move back to my last edit point as a movement oops key. The default speed key is Shift Alt L, but the hyperkey is capital Z. that is Z with the Shift key. If I accidentally give a command that loses my editing spot and perhaps opens a dialog, I'll immediately press the Escape key and not do any further editing until I've pressed the Movement Oops key.
You understand what they're telling you there? I was just talking about that, okay? I was just telling you guys about it. I'm gonna show you what it does.
If I accidentally give a command that loses my editing spot and perhaps opens a...
And it's gonna open a box like this. And I tell you, it happens to me like once on a job. You know, I'm typing so fast that sometimes, you know, I get ahead of myself, okay? And it just opens a box like this, and say you were on 14 of 80. Well, now it takes you to page 80, and it opens this fill in the blank. That's not where I need to be. Don't freak out. Press Escape, or get out of here. It's going to bring you to the regular page. Then you just start pressing Z, and it's going to take you back to the next spots that you just edited. Okay? Be careful, because it'll keep going. With the Z, and you've already made changes, it's going to keep, you know, start correcting those changes. So, I mean, if you go back and you just start pressing that Z 8 times thinking that you just want to get back to that one spot, well, now you just corrected 7 things. Okay? So be careful with that. You press Z, it's going to take you somewhere. You press Z until it gets you back to the spot where you need to be. But don't freak out when this little box comes up or when something happens, you know, like a fill in the blank or it goes to another page or the bottom of the document. Okay? You just press Z. All right?
Dialog, I'll immediately press the Escape key and not do any further editing until I've pressed the Movement Oops key. To delete a whole word, just press Hyperkey D or Speed key Control Backspace. Here I doubled this word. I'll delete it. To delete one character at a time, press Hyperkey capital D.
You see what it's telling you right there? In hyperkeys, the smaller case letter is going to be the thing that you do the most, okay? The uppercase is going to be the one that you do the least, but you still kind of need it, okay? The thing that you're going to do the most is you're usually going to delete a word. You're usually not going to delete one character, okay? So, when you need to delete that word, and it doesn't matter where your cursor is in this word, all you do is press D in hyperkeys, and it'll delete it. Okay? Now, say you just want to delete one character. Okay? And I think it does it back. No, I think it does it forward. I'm sorry. I think it does it forward. So if you have it on E and you do the Shift D, which is capital D in hyperkeys, Shift D is going to delete one character at a time. Okay? I tell you what's really cool is if, say you're on this sentence right here, and say you just stroked it wrong, and it said, would your expected her to have, well, that's not what you need, right? So you cursor over to the word E and press S. S is shave, and what it's going to do is shave off the last letter. Okay? Get into a document. Get into a document.
No. I'm trying.
Okay, you're right there. See how it does it.
What if you're trying to make a compound word, but it did a space? How do you just like back up to make the word go together? Or can you do that? Like I don't know, what's a compound word? I can't think of one.
Overcome?
Overcome. So say over and come ended up being separate, and you need it to be together. Like, how do you?
Backspace.
Oh, duh. Okay. Thank you.
Or that.
Or that.
Y'all see how it works?
I'm trying.
Don't be embarrassed. He knows we're learning. Hey, we have to